Hello there. It's November 2023, it's the 16th, and in a few hours, the Heart of the Griffon event will start in World of Warplanes, whereby the World of Warplanes team brings you special modes during which you can earn rewards, including crates, and out of those crates will drop an operation order which will allow you to initiate a marathon or a chain of combat missions for the new Tier 7 British light fighter, the Martin-Baker MB.5. And here it is in the background. I will not be talking about this plane in this video. You'll have to wait for that until later today when I release a full review of the aircraft, and then you'll be able to see what it's like. As far as the chain of combat missions is concerned, you can either work your way steadily through them, or you can buy certificates in the shop to skip some or all of those missions. What follows next is an extract from my Twitch stream of this morning, in which I discuss briefly the Heart of the Griffon event and in some detail the missions that you're expected to grind through to earn this aircraft. So without further ado, let's hear what I had to say. World Warplanes. Today we have a bomber escort, and my cap is still skew with. Today we have the bomber escort mission starting 3 o'clock UK time, 4 o'clock Central European time. And for those of you who haven't played it before, I think this is the best of the special modes. And there are going to be 3 more weeks after this one of special modes. Unfortunately, one of them is Conquest, so it's not that special because that's your standard mode. We bring this up, just bring this down. You can see that it's actually been labelled these 4 weeks Heart of the Griffon if you're on the web page, and Heart of the Griffin if you're in the client. Actually, both spellings are valid in English, but the engine, which is in the Martin-Baker, is actually a Rolls-Royce Griffon 89. That's how it was spelled. And there's an alternative spelling as well, G-R-P-H-Y-O-N. No, G-R-Y-P-H-O-N. So all of these are valid. And this event will run for a month. It starts today and finishes on December the 17th. And there are 4 phases. Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. And each of these stages have 2 phases, basically Thursday and Saturday, and then you play the normal game at all other times. Stage 1, as you can see, is Bomber Escort. Stage 2 is Conquest, the normal game. Stage 3 is Bomber Escort again. And stage 4 is Attrition, which is actually not as good a mode. There is actually another mode, Invasion. But I'm told by the World of Warplanes team that they consider that to be broken, and until they fix it, they're not going to bring it back, and they haven't on this occasion. I actually think they'll never fix it. There you go. So, Bomber Escort is pretty much as it sounds, and I think it's quite a lot of fun. You're going to have flights of bombers coming across trying to attack targets, which, if you are with them, you have to defend, and if you are against them, you have to shoot down and not let them reach the end of the map. And you can get some pretty meaty scores in this mode if you're flying the right sorts of aircraft. So that mode I'm looking forward to. Conquest mode we all know all about because it's a standard game mode. It's what we play day in, day out. Attrition is not quite so nice. This is where you start off with basically a number of aircraft and replenishments at the start of a battle, and the aim is to basically shoot down all of the enemy aircraft and all of their replenishments. I'm not sure how many there are. It's like 15 or so on top of the 60 or so, or 75 or so, and be the first team to do that. And if you do that, you win the game. So basically, it is attrition. You start off, let's say it's with 75 aircraft to shoot down, and if you shoot down your 75 before the enemy shoots down their 75, you win. You've only ever got 12 aircraft at a time to shoot, though, because that's the size of the teams. Okay, and as a plus point, as you complete these missions, you will be able to earn special crates. Supply crates, we'll call them. And one of these things will drop you an operation order for the Martin-Baker. Now, that is a high probability drop. You will probably get it in the first 3 crates. You can buy these crates from slightly before the event, by the way. I wouldn't bother personally, but you have that option. You can buy them for gold. You can buy them for 2 of them. So if you're desperate to try and get hold of the Martin-Baker soon, or soonest, then you're going to have to buy some crates, hope that the operation order drops. At least I think that's the way it's going, and then activate it immediately if you can. I suspect you won't be able to activate it until the event starts, but then activate it and buy certificates to complete all of the stages of the operation order. And this brings me on to talking about the chain of combat missions for the Martin-Baker MB.5. Many of you will be going, okay, what are the missions and is the plane worth it? At 3 o'clock this afternoon, I will be releasing a full review video of the Martin-Baker MB.5, in which you will learn all about the aircraft and be able, I hope, to come to a conclusion as to whether this is worth your time or your money. Until that point, I cannot talk about the plane. I've been asked by the World of Warplanes team to say nothing about it and not discuss it, and I'm going to observe that condition, because otherwise they will probably not do nice things for me on the press account in the future. I hope you understand that. So make a note, 3 o'clock GMT, 4 o'clock CET, a video will drop on my YouTube channel with a full review of the Martin-Baker MB.5. It's about 40 minutes long, the usual format, all the statistics, my opinions on how to build the aircraft, some interesting stuff about aspects of the aircraft which I think you need to know, and a battle, a tier 8 battle in a tier 7 plane. I hope that will help you. And I have just gone through the missions, and I have to say, I am surprised, even a little disappointed, that the missions are as grindy as they are. The grind factor for this set of 25 combat missions, my opinion, has gone up by, I don't know, 25, 50% even. So we're going to step through them. And I'm going to tell you, as a decent player, how long I think it might take me to do this. And then as a newer player, and bearing in mind that a newer player may not have the best aircraft for doing these missions, what it might take you. So let's step through these. Mission 1, win 1 battle. Okay, not hard, I hope. I would expect to do that first time. It might be the second time. It'll be quick. But I'd put in 1 as a good player and maybe 2 as a newer player. Easy enough. 55,000 hit points against aerial targets. I reckon that will take me about 6 games. Say 10,000 game. It's damage, basically. So if I pick the right aircraft, and I'm thinking high tier heavy here, perhaps I should say that as well. The first one, any plane. I'll type this in as I go along. Your favourite plane. Your favourite plane killer, that is. Obviously a GAA or a bomber probably isn't going to feature here, but actually it's your favourite plane, full stop. No, it isn't. It's your favourite plane. Let's just win a battle. Okay. High tier heavy would be most suitable for this one, I think. If you've got one of those, I reckon that will probably take me 6 games. And you know, player, I guess it might take 12. 4,000 capture points of any description. High tier bomber. And that would probably take me about 10 games. I reckon to get about 400 capture points a game with something like a Junkers 287. For those of you who don't have high tier bombers, it's going to take an awful lot longer. 15 sector captures, and again, I'm afraid I'm looking at a high tier bomber. I normally do something like 4 sectors a game in a high tier bomber. Some of you will do more. Really good players will do more, and newer players will probably take longer. So I've said 8 there, high tier bomber. Conqueror, 450 capture points. I tend to use my favourite fighter for this. Favourite heavy as well. He doesn't have to be of any particular tier, apart from the restriction, of course. But I think this event is limited to 222, probably tier 5 to 10. Let's have a look. Here we go. Oh, actually tier 4. Bit better then. So you've got choice of tier 4 aircraft. So tiers 4 to 10, favourite fighter for this one. 60,000 personal points. Again, favourite plane. Fairly easy there, I think. 120 aerial targets. Again, favourite plane killer. Any tier. And I reckon that will take me 12 games. I reckon I'm getting at least 10. There'll be an odd game where I get 20, 25 even. But then there's sometimes real blowout games where I only get 4 or 5. So an average of 10 a game seems about right. Newer players, I reckon about 24. 200 sections of ground target. Favourite and probably higher tier GAA or bomber in this case. I don't think it really matters which. I'd probably do it in a bomber, high tier. And I reckon that will take me about 3 games in a high tier. A ground attacker or a bomber. And therefore a little bit more for people who perhaps don't have those aircraft or are a little bit less skilled at this moment. Expert pilot, I generally get expert pilot all the time. I'm not sure whether you need to be in a fighter or whatever, but basically I will do this in my favourite fighter. So this is probably going to be something like a BF-109E. Thunder, that's 400 capture points in a bomber or GAA. I tend to get these fairly regularly. I'll probably do it in the bomber, but okay, 70 ADAs, air defense aircraft. I reckon I'm getting about 5 a game. This is a bit of a pain, this one. Favourite fighter or heavy? So I could very well do this at high tier, so MEP 1101, for instance, or the Javelin, quite likely. Or if I'd feel like a dip change, something like the BF-109B, the E, good Spitfire 1A for a bit of variety, perhaps, for instance. You get the idea. A fighter in which you feel comfortable or a heavy in which you feel comfortable. 5,500 capture points specifically for ground targets. This implies high tier bomber. I reckon I'm getting about 400 capture points a game in a high tier bomber. Somebody like Fallen Angel, it's probably more like 600 or 700 capture points per game, so it'll be less for him. But I'm not that experienced in bombers. Shooting down 25 enemy bombers, you will get there. I reckon that's going to take me something like 9 or 10 games. So, favourite heavy. Any tier will do. Don't think, well, I know for a fact that does not include bomber flights. It specifically says enemy planes. Therefore, it will be excluding bomber flights. Guardian is 250 defensive capture points. This is favourite fighter, in my opinion. So you could hope for something like a central air repair base and get yourself in an A6M50 with the Kira Kane in it. Something like that would work really well. And funny enough, that would work on the next one as well. Favourite fighter, Akamatsu. That's 400 capture points in a fighter in a single sortie. Sorry, I should have said that the Thunder is in a single sortie. Oh no, Thunder is battle-wide. It's not the Doolittle medal, which is a single sortie. The Akamatsu is a single sortie achievement. And here we go. Just the 1 million hit points worth of damage to ground targets. You're all beginning to see some big numbers here. I mean, 55 HP at mission 2 was big already, but this is massive. And I reckon that's going to take me at least 15 battles, and that's a high tier bomber. Maybe tier 10 German GA as well. And if you've only got mid tiers, this is going to take forever. It's a long, long, long grind. The next one is pretty nasty as well because you normally only get 2 to 3 multi-rolls per battle. I'd go low tier for this because you tend to, I think, sometimes get battles with 4 or 5 multi-rolls in them. So low tier fighter. Or heavy for me. However, I would also say that you should use your favourite fighter or heavy for that job and just hope that they come your way. Heavy might be a better idea if it's competitive, if you're in the middle of everybody else scrapping for multi-role fighters, and this is the problem when you're fighting everybody else for the same things, you might be better using a heavy bush. You can blast them out of the sky more quickly. Next, 160,000 personal points. Another huge grind. Favourite plane? Okay, 5 heavies in one battle, pain in the backside. This is the kind of thing that could happen first time, or it might hold you up seriously. I think I got stuck on this one in the previous iteration. and I kept on getting 4, and I think it took me 3 hours. So 12 battles to get this one. It's just one of those. It may happen first time, or you may get horribly stuck on it, and it's really annoying. Favorite heavy, I would suggest for this one. Maguire medal, 400 capture points in a single sortie in a heavy. So your favorite heavy. And it will depend on how good you are at getting lots of capture points. So make sure you do your work in the sectors when they're unlocked and not between sectors or when the sectors are locked. 100,000 damage to aerial targets. High tier heavy. I will be using the javelin. And I will be seeking to shoot down lots and lots and lots of bombers. A few ground targets as well. Sorry, few ground attackers. 6,500 capture points for ground targets. This is another enormous grind. Doesn't look like much, but again, it's a big one. High tier bomber. 3 rear gunner kills, single battle. I am going to struggle with this one. And I'm afraid to say that the plane that strikes me as being perfect for this is gunshipping it with a B-29C. Other alternatives, you want your best rear gunner, so something like an Su-10 bomber or perhaps an Se-100 or a low tier. This is a horrible mission. I don't think I've ever done 3 rear gunner kills. I'm pretty confident I'll be able to do it, but the planes that you should use for this are going to be fairly limited. I mean, if you haven't got any of those 3 planes, maybe a Beaufighter with the rotatable turret, maybe that might work. Hit them with the front guns and hope to then get the rear gunner to finish them off, something like that. Basically, it's either that or it's going to be the aircraft with your best turret. So, for instance, an NC-1070 ground attacker, if you have that, and I know that's another premium, maybe that plane. But this is a nasty, nasty, nasty mission. There you go. Winged Legend. Well, that just depends on a little bit of luck, the right conditions. But Winged Legends aren't that hard for me to obtain. 5 is probably a little bit of an overestimate there, but basically, favourite plane. And finally, the Ace. Well, these aren't 10 a penny, and even good players can't just reel them off one by one. I have to say, the plane that really strikes me as being most suitable for this these days is the P61. Reel off an Ace in a P61. If not, then it'll be fighter or heavy, in which you are most skilled. There you go. So those are the missions for the Martin-Baker 5, and I'm a decent player. I'm not going to over-egg it. I'm not an elite player. I have lots of weaknesses and flaws, stubbornness, impatience, not good at certain types of aircraft, that kind of thing. But I'm a good player. And I still reckon that slightly conservatively, but not particularly conservatively, I reckon that's going to take me damn near 200 games to do, which is a playing time, game time, bear in mind. This isn't including the waits to go into battle and the fact that you can't just play consistently and not do anything else for hours on end. You have to get up and go around and deal with real life things, so on, so on. So just game time, I reckon that's 1,485 minutes, pretty much 25 hours solid work for me. And I think that's a lot over a month for anybody. If you're holding down a job, you've got family commitments, or you're a student and you've got exams coming up or whatever, I think this is an awful lot of time. And the thing is, if you're a newer player, let's say that you don't have all of the best aircraft for all of these missions and you have to struggle along with a plane that's suboptimal, I reckon it's going to be something like 400 games, 3,000 minutes, or 50 hours worth of work for the Martin-Baker MB.5. And I would imagine many of you are now sitting there and looking at that and going, well, that Martin-Baker 5 better be a rather good aircraft for me to spend that kind of time or potentially spend money on certificates to skip some of these missions. Well, as to whether the plane is a really good plane or not, you will Find out when I release my YouTube video at 3 o'clock GMT, 4 o'clock CET this afternoon. And there you have it. Those are my initial thoughts on the Heart of the Griffon event and the chain of combat missions you'll have to work through if you're going to try and grind your way through to getting this aircraft for free. And it only remains for me to say, best of luck everybody, and I hope you have some fun. This is the Noble Q, signing off.